The cycle always repeats itself. You wake up. You work. You pay the bills. You make choices. You vote. You scroll. But freedom isn't the ability to choose between options handed to you. It's the power to question why those are your only options. And that power, most people never touch it, because from the moment you were born, you were trained not to. They taught you how to sit still, how to follow rules, how to silence your instincts in exchange for approval. This wasn't called control. It was called education, structure, society. But it was always conditioning. You don't live in chains. You live inside a story you didn't write, one that rewards obedience, punishes rebellion, and convinces you it's your choice. This is not freedom. This is a cage you were taught to decorate. You never saw the walls. You were never just taught. Michel Foucault called it discipline, not the loud, obvious kind, but the quiet programming that teaches you to monitor yourself. Sit up straight. Don't speak out. Raise your hand to ask permission, to think. It starts in schools, rows of desks, bells, surveillance, training you to perform, not question. Then you move into work. Swipe in, stay productive, look busy. Your body becomes data. Your time, a commodity. Even your family can become a behavioral lab. Rewards for obedience. Guilt for disobedience. It's not about punishment anymore. It's about normalizing control. You don't need a prison when you can get people to police themselves. This is the genius of modern power. It doesn't force you to conform. It makes you believe you chose it. And the more obedient you are, the more invisible the system becomes. Once, power was loud. Public floggings, executions. The body was the target. But over time, society got smarter, more efficient. Michel Foucault traced this shift, from punishing the body to controlling the mind. Discipline was born not in darkness, but under bright, clinical lights. It started in prisons, schools, military camps, timetables, inspections, surveillance. The goal wasn't just obedience, it was transformation. They didn't just want you to behave. They wanted you to internalize control. So you'd punish yourself with guilt, shame, silence. This is the evolution of power. No chains, no lashes, just structure, routine, watchful eyes. You become your own guard, your own prison. And the scariest part? You call it normal. What feels like freedom might just be a well-decorated cell. Imagine a prison where the guard sits in a tower. He can see every prisoner, but the prisoners can't see him. So they behave, not because they're being watched, but because they might be. That's the panopticon. Jeremy Bentham designed it for control. But Michel Foucault saw something darker. He realized, you don't need walls if you control perception. The fear of surveillance becomes constant. So people monitor themselves. In this system, the camera doesn't even have to be on. The possibility is enough. Workplaces, classrooms, social media. You're surrounded by invisible towers, and you act like someone's always watching, even when you're alone. You don't just follow the rules. You become the kind of person who needs no punishment to obey. You are the guard and the prisoner. You think your shame is personal, that your guilt is proof of failure. But what if it's just programming? Foucault warned us, the most effective power doesn't punish you from the outside. It trains you to punish yourself. You feel anxious when you're late, ashamed when you rest, afraid to speak your mind. That's not random. That's conditioning. Society rewards conformity, then sells rebellion as a weekend hobby. You don't need chains, because fear does the job. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. They gave you an identity, a fragile self-image. That cracks the moment you stop performing. Control isn't loud anymore. It's quiet, intimate, built into who you think you are. And until you see it, you can't escape it. You weren't born obedient. You were trained, which means you can untrain yourself. This system runs on silence, on routines you never questioned, on thoughts you mistake for your own. But the moment you observe it, the cracks begin to show. Watch your triggers. Notice when you shrink. Catch your automatic responses. Scrolling, yes to everything. Procrastination. You were never supposed to question. You are not lazy. You were conditioned. You are not broken. You were molded. Every act of awareness is an act of rebellion. Wake up 5 minutes earlier. Eat with your non-dominant hand. Say no when you usually say yes. Break pattern. Break rhythm. Break the spell. The system thrives on you running in circles. So step out and start watching it burn. You've seen the bars, felt the leash tighten when you spoke too loud. You know this isn't freedom. So now the question is simple. Will you go back to sleep? Or will you stay awake? This path won't make you popular. You'll feel the pull to comply, to keep your head down, to nod, smile, obey. But if you want to break free, you need to become dangerous. Not to others, to the system. Start with this. For 1 week, journal your daily obedience. Track every time you edited yourself. Softened your voice. Agreed to avoid conflict. Write like you're your own warden. And then decide who you really want to be. The prisoner? The guard? Or the one who escapes? Wake up. Before the system tucks you back in.